A few days ago, I found myself in an unsettling situation within the confines of my house. It all began when I started hearing a faint scratching noise emanating from one of the walls. Now my house was located deep within a remote forest, and immediately, my mind went to the possibility of a wild animal being responsible for this strange sound. I embarked on an exhaustive search throughout the entire house, determined to find any evidence of a creature's presence. However, to my bewilderment, I couldn't uncover a single trace of an animal anywhere within. As the days passed, the scratching noise persisted, growing increasingly louder with each passing day. My curiosity was piqued, and I became resolute in my mission to locate the source of this enigmatic sound. It took me 4 days of meticulous investigation before I stumbled upon a breakthrough. Engaged in my usual carpentry work in the yard, a tool suddenly malfunctioned and broke apart. This prompted me to venture into the basement, a place I hadn't visited in quite some time, in search of a spare saw. In the dimly lit basement, I delved into my dusty toolbox, the beam of my flashlight guiding my way. And there, amidst the dusty relics, I heard it, the sound that had plagued me for days. It was right behind me, an unsettling scratching noise that sent shivers down my spine. Startled, I quickly turned my flashlight toward the source of the sound, only to be greeted by an empty, eerie space. Undeterred, I approached the wall, my ear pressed against it in an attempt to discern the origin of the sound. To my astonishment, the scratching noise was unmistakably coming from within the wall, its eerie rhythm resembling that of a sharp tool scraping against the surface. But it wasn't like any wild animal sound I'd encountered before. It had a regular, deliberate pattern that defied natural explanation. The situation was unnerving and eerie, leaving me with an unsettling feeling of uncertainty. Unable to fathom what lay hidden behind the concrete wall, I couldn't shake off the sense of dread that had taken hold of me. In fear and apprehension, I decided to vacate my home, packing my belongings and seeking refuge elsewhere. A call to the police seemed like the only rational course of action. I reached out to the authorities, sharing my ordeal with them. Their response, however, offered me little comfort. They dismissed my concerns, attributing the noise to a potential wild animal and deeming it unworthy of investigation. Frustration and fear welled up within me as I grappled with the eerie phenomenon in my home. Reluctantly, I spent a restless night at a nearby motel, far away from the unsettling sound that had haunted me. But the following day, curiosity mingled with dread as I returned to my house. What I encountered was a scene of chaos. The kitchen and living room were in disarray, covered in mud, and the refrigerator was wide open. Its contents vanished without a trace. Peculiar footprints littered the floor, leading me down to the basement. With my heart pounding, I cautiously descended into the depths once again, my gun gripped tightly in my hand. And there, before me, lay a gaping hole in the basement wall. My flashlight's beam revealed a seemingly endless darkness within, its depth indiscernible. My instincts prompted me to contact the police once more, and soon, they arrived, launching a thorough search of the house. The discovery left them as baffled as I was. Numerous fingerprints adorned the surfaces, but the strangest part was that none of them matched any registered records. Their unique shape puzzled the investigators, as did the inexplicable circumstances surrounding my house. The officer's assessment was startling. There seemed to have been a total of 8 intruders, and their fingerprints remained untraceable. Peering through the abyss within the basement, a police officer's flashlight illuminated the chilling truth. The depth of the hole was immeasurable, a void that defied understanding. Concluding that further investigation was too hazardous, they proposed forming a search party to explore the mysterious depths. In the midst of this enigma, I found myself stranded, my occupation as a carpenter in the forest rendered impossible. Faced with limited options, I resolved to seal the hole, attempting to reclaim a sense of normalcy within my home. The questions gnawed at me, an unrelenting puzzle that refused to be solved. Yet, as time passed, the memory of that haunting scratching noise faded, and life began to regain a semblance of normality. Weeks turned into months, and I gradually put the terrifying experience behind me. Or so I thought. A month later, as I returned from a day of woodcutting in the woods, a strange and unfamiliar noise greeted me from the basement. It was a sound unlike any I'd heard before, a bizarre, alien-like hissing that sent a chill down my spine. It was then that I realized that the nightmare was far from over.